Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to The Lock Shop. Dusty and Huss with you on WrestleMania Friday. We'll get to that coming up. NHL slate. The boys being us, red hot right now. Like, don't come anywhere near us right now. It's like we're flying in through the atmosphere from outer space, and we're burning up right now, Huss. This is nuts.
It's nuclear, I think, is the term I think we need to use. This has been an all-time week in the Lock Shop. I don't even know what to say, and you're going to get a kick out of this, man. So, obviously, Tuesday, plus 900 partner parlay. Wednesday, plus 575.
Yeah.
Yesterday, we have our plus 525er, and we need the Avalanche. We need, was it Pittsburgh last night?
Pittsburgh, yep.
Yeah. Okay, so Pittsburgh was looking good. Avs there. I'm at the Jets game, and we had the Jets in reg. It looked like they were pulling away in the third period. I'm like, man, we're going to do it again. Like, this is awesome. And then I was focused in on the WST parlay. So early on in the game, the parlay, if you missed it yesterday, was Jets to win. Ehlers, Velarde, Scheifele, and Morrissey all to get a point.
Whoa.
Well, 3 of the 4 had points in the first period. And I am sitting with Remus, my partner from Winnipeg Sports Talk. We had a big group at the game. And I said to him, dude, the way things are going, this sucker is gonna hit. And again, this is like 10 minutes midway through the game, mid-second period. I said, this is gonna hit on a cheeky second assist by Mark Scheifele into an empty net.
No.
And that is exactly what happened.
You must have been losing your mind.
Dude, I was just sitting there waiting to officially hear his name called on the goal scoring celebration, and then it was on. So yeah, hit that one at plus 500 as well last night. 4-0 on the plays of the day.
Woo!
I mean, we've just basically been hitting everything. I keep on going to Coolbet. I just hope that they're still operating and whatnot. We haven't completely bankrupted the guys. I'm texting Jake and Pat. You guys still have jobs? Everything good?
They're so good. You're still our partners. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
Like, look, man, there's ups and downs. We just happen to be on one of the best. Like, we've had 2 years ago, our NFL run was unreal. Pretty good on NFL again this year, you especially. But this is one of the best hockey and parlay runs that we've ever been on. Like, this is, and we've been killing actually the Lock Shop plays of the day for, I don't know, I'd say like a month and a half. Like, a bad week right now is 3-2 for us. So it's, it's been good, man. Things are good. I like it.
I mean, I'm just in such, the spirits and the vibes could not be higher heading into WrestleMania weekend. Considering what's happened so far. I mean, and it was also obviously here in the Peg, big night. Jets got their win, clinched the playoff spot. But most importantly, and I think I told you this before, so we did this 4-game WST pack at the beginning of the season. We had a bunch of group of listeners and viewers that have come to us for 4 games. Well, we had the Dubois return, Kings game, 3rd game of the year. Jets score 1 in that game. Bunch of empty seats. People were freaked out. Gabe Velarde gets hurt for an extended period of time. Not a great way to start it off. The next game was the Oiler game in November. Jets up 1-0 late. That was the infamous Darnell Nurse knuckler on Hellebuck that went in. Bang, bang. Somehow lose that game after being up the entire time. Game 3 of the package was the Saturday night game against the Toronto Maple Leafs, where the Jets lost as well. And yesterday on WST, it was declared that this was a must-win. The future of the WST package was on the line yesterday. So the Jets got the win, helped us out big time in the Lock Shop. We're getting ready to bring the Whites out for the playoffs, and things are all good. So I got to tell you, I mean, and by the way, our guy Ash K. Badia.
Oh, my God.
50-1. Like, on top of all of that yesterday, we look, and I mean, we were talking on the program that, this is a really tough course. No one really gone too low. Then all of a sudden, Ash K drops a 9 under 63 in his opening round. Just, I mean, this is going to be very, very fun. By the way, for people that are riding with us, Ash K had a morning tee time today, and he's holding his own. He's been even par throughout. He's still at 9 under par. He's got a 3-shot lead on Russell Henley, Brendan Todd, Justin Lauer. Rory McIlroy has sort of crept into the conversation. Rory's 2 under, so he's 5 under right now. He's got 3 holes left, I believe. There's some other good names, too. I mean, Tommy Fleetwood's at 4 under. He's got just a few holes left to play. And Max Homa's 4 under and has not yet teed off. So we'll see kind of what happens. Spieth with a nice round today as well at -4. But the Ash K run is on. And I'll tell you what, if in addition to all of this, the called shot of Ash K booking his ticket to the Masters by winning the Valero Texas Open, it will undoubtedly be the greatest week in Lock Shop history.
No doubt.
So we're pulling for the guy with the custom-made 28-inch pants and see what he can do.
You can hit us up in the nasty chat. Obviously, the vibe over there is real good right now. I like the guy, Steinbach, the nemesis, says we should see at least 115 thumbs up right now because there's almost 120 people watching. Yeah, I mean, if you like winners, if you like dubs, hammer the thumbs up for us. Man, you know what else hit yesterday? My little MLB 2 gamer. That hit as well. This is a nice little bonus cash yesterday. So, yeah, it's good. I got another MLB parlay that we'll get to here today as well at some point on the show. I figure what we do here is we hit the NHL tonight. EST parlay's already up. It's 5-1. You can grab that over at Coolbet. It is Connor McDavid over 1.5 points. Leon Draisaitl goal. I put this together before I knew they were playing together tonight, so that's good news. And then a Bouchard point. So Draisaitl goal, McDavid 2 points, Bouchard point, Oilers win. You can find that in the exclusive section right now over at Coolbet.com. But should we go NHL plays, then dive into the WrestleMania? It makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. We'll finish off with the WrestleMania kind of after you do the keyword and everything like that. Our bread and butter this week has been hockey winners. I don't think we should stray.
Yeah, there's no glossing over it right now. Not with the NHL. Not with what we've been doing over there. If you have go ahead, man.
I just want to say before we kind of dive into all these other games, I'm very interested in the mood around Edmonton and the thoughts going into this game. Like what the Oilers are doing right now, the Jets are going to be doing next week. I mean, you take that road trip, the gauntlet through the Central Division, the hell of a way to get ready for the playoffs in the postseason. And the Jets will be doing that Saturday in Minneapolis, Tuesday in Nashville. I'll actually be in Nashville early next week, so be joining you from Music City for the first few days of the show next week. But then going to Dallas and then going to Colorado. And obviously the Jets have been right there with those teams all season long. Dallas has sort of extended their league. It really looks like the Jets are going to be playing Colorado. I think that's what we all expect in the first round. But from an Oiler perspective, considering where they are, pretty much know their fate. You get waxed the way they did against Dallas. Is this thought of as an important game tonight? I mean, a real test for what's going on? Or is it sort of, let's just hurry up and wait and see who they're playing?
It's funny because this was a major talking point on our show this morning. Vegas is not far behind them. Vegas gets Arizona tonight. If Vegas wins tonight, and they've been playing better lately than the Oilers have, if Vegas wins tonight and the Oilers lose tonight, Vegas is just a point back. And the Oilers would have a game in hand, and they play each other here in Edmonton next Wednesday, which is going to be amazing. Cannot wait for that game. So we were asking this morning, how important is this game for the Oilers tonight? And I think you have to tie in a number of different things. First of all, the bounce back after Dallas. Like, Dallas was an awful game. Draisaitl and Nurse had some of their worst games of the season. If those guys don't bounce back tonight, then you start to go, okay, well, what's going on here? They also played Colorado not that long ago. Played them well, but didn't win. So you don't want to drop 2 in a row to the Avs who you could possibly face if you get to a Western Conference final or something along those lines. So, I mean, I said it was, we did on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is tonight's game for the Oilers? And I was a little surprised. Like 15% of people are like, man, it's regular season still. They're going to be in the playoffs. But the highest category was in that 8 to 10 range. And people think tonight's a very important game for theirs. If they don't lose tonight, the overall bigger picture is they just lost 3 in a row to St. Louis and then 2 legitimate Stanley Cup contenders in Dallas and Colorado. So I think from a mindset perspective, it's a pretty big one. Standings wise, not the end of the world. If you drop it, it'd be nice if you can get a point to try to maintain this cushion on Vegas. But I do think it's an important game tonight. So can't wait to see it. And it'll be very fascinating. Like that game Colorado won when they played here not that long ago. The Oilers played really well. They just didn't beat Colorado.
That game was amazing.
Yeah.
We were talking about that game all week.
Well, and I think somebody might have the numbers here. I don't know if Rod Z's kicking around. I remember talking about it heading into that game. But I think these teams have gone to overtime in like 4 or 5 games in a row, or 4 of their last 5. I'll have to look it up. Like they are extremely evenly matched. And it's a big one tonight. It'll go a long way. Like they play Colorado again, they play Vegas, they play Vancouver still, and then they just play, outside of the Battle of Alberta, even though Calgary's done. Kind of a bunch of duds in all the other games the rest of the way. So you want to see them perform well in a game like this one tonight. I'm looking at, their last 5 games have all gone to overtime. 6-5 Colorado, 3-2 Colorado, 6-5 Colorado, 2-1 Edmonton, 3-2 Colorado. So there's not much separating these two clubs, man. It's going to be a good one, and I think it's important.
I mean, is it just an auto bet on the draw at plus 320 tonight, 360?
Well, you know what? Against St. Louis, we did say that game was going to overtime on our show in the morning, and we got it. We hit that one. So it's definitely worth a sprinkle on the overtime tonight. I mean, 6 in a row, maybe that trend doesn't continue because it does seem ridiculous, but they just play very tight hockey games. And it's one of 6 games tonight in the National Hockey League. Here in Edmonton, Georgiev, Colorado played in one last night, helped us on the parlay there. Georgiev will go for Colorado. It will be Stuart Skinner for the Edmonton Oilers. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen for the Buffalo Sabres, a big Fedotov guy, the Russian who just came over. He's going to get the start for the Philadelphia Flyers. Alex Lyon will be in net for the Red Wings at home tonight against the Rangers. Jonathan Quick likely on the other side for the Rangers there. Kemper and Kochekov unconfirmed at this point. Capitals coming off that big-time loss to the Pittsburgh Penguins last night. Dostal and Joey Decord unconfirmed in the Seattle-Anaheim game. And then Arizona will start Vejmelka tonight. And Logan Thompson on the Vegas Golden Knights, who are starting to heat up here a little bit. Huss, what stands out for you on this 6-game slate tonight?
Well, what stands out is just all of these teams right in the middle of this playoff race in the East that are playing. And it doesn't really seem anybody wants to go and grab a playoff spot except for Pittsburgh, who sort of played their way out of it and are now suddenly back in. By the way, I don't know how many of you lock shoppers jumped on that 6-1 that was out for the Penguins to make the playoffs yesterday. Obviously, it's off the board when the thing started, but me too. I mean, we're looking at it now. So Philly right now in the Met has the 3rd spot, but just on account of a tiebreaker against the Islanders. 83 for the Islanders. Now the Caps are 1 point back at 82, but do have 1 game in hand. They'll play that tonight. And then they're the Penguins. Full Undertaker run right now, man. Out of the casket, 81 points, and by far playing the best hockey of any of these teams. The Islanders did win last night. They've won 3 in a row.
I looked at the schedule today when we had Dreger on this morning. We were talking about Crosby and the Pens. 6 games left. One's against the Islanders. One's against the Red Wings. But the other 4 are pretty tough tilts, like Tampa, Toronto, Nashville, and one other, Boston maybe? I think maybe Boston. I don't have it in front of me right now, but 4 pretty tough games, but it could still come down to just those 2 head-to-heads against Detroit and the Islanders, right?
Well, I mean, those games are basically sort of must-wins. Let's just pull it up right now.
They got to have those games. I mean, there's no way about it.
Noon game tomorrow against the Lightning at home. At the Leafs on Monday night. Home to Detroit on Thursday. Home to Boston on Saturday, home to Nashville, and then the final game on Wednesday, April 17th is at the New York Islanders. Thing about it is, though, Pittsburgh, and we see this every year, the team that is basically playing playoff games earlier on often bites away at these teams that are just basically waiting for the playoffs to start. Like they'll probably be a dog in some of these games, but I mean, they'll win. They'll win one of these games against Toronto or potentially at home against Boston. And it'll be very interesting to see this run, with the Tampa Bay Lightning, because the Lightning have been playing great. They now have essentially taken care of their spot, although they're only 2 back from the Maple Leafs right now. But they have won 5 of their last 6. And if you go back even further, they've won 10 of their last 12 right now. So they certainly have been playing well. But I don't know. Sid is channeling this like 25-year-old Sidney Crosby right now. I'm not betting against the Penguins at any point. They're not on the list tonight, of course. So it's not really that much of a big deal. But just interesting to talk about, especially considering we got on those 6-1s yesterday. But the games that are hugely impactful in that race, right at the top of that list, Philly at Buffalo, Washington at Carolina, and the Wings home to the Rangers. And if you like the Pittsburgh Penguins to make the playoffs, you're loving this. Every one of those teams, Dusty, is an underdog tonight. The shortest number is Philly at plus 107, but you've got Detroit at plus 119, the Caps at plus 220. I could see all those teams losing tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I think of those teams tonight, I don't know, the one that I sort of have the gut feeling play on would be the Philadelphia Flyers at plus 107 against Buffalo, just because Buffalo's been so damn inconsistent. They've actually looked okayish as of late. But Washington on the second half of back-to-backs having to go against Carolina, I am fully on board with some sort of Carolina play, whether it's puck line or regulation or something for a parlay tonight as well. And we've talked a lot about the Rangers this year. Well, actually, I'll say that maybe we haven't talked. Maybe nobody's talking enough about the New York Rangers this year, but that's going to be a really tough task for the Detroit Red Wings tonight. So, I mean, yeah, I like Carolina. I like the Rangers. I like Vegas in regulation tonight too. They're in Arizona, and Vegas has been playing so well lately. These are important points. And in regulation tonight, Vegas is minus 105. Minus 105 for the Golden Knights in regulation. So I think that should definitely be part of some sort of parlay here. What do you think about the Canes? What's the no? How do we get the value there?
Well, we either take them in regulation at minus 154, or we nut up and drop it on the puck line. The puck line for this game is even money for the Hurricanes. And just to check in on what the Canes have been doing, they've kind of quietly become a co-favorite to win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Now they are coming off a 4-1 loss to the Bruins. Was that last night?
Last night. Both these teams are on back-to-backs.
Okay, both these teams are playing on back-to-backs. But before that had back-to-back shutouts. Listen, I think that these two teams are in a completely different class. And if you recall, they played, what was it, about a week or two ago? And Washington beat them in a crazy 7-6 overtime game.
It was shootout, I think. It was a shootout.
Or a shootout, yeah. It was back and forth. I mean, obviously, a dozen goals playing, making it happen. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is a very different game, probably a little bit tighter. But listen, I'm definitely in reg, and you could probably convince me to go even money on the puck line too.
Well, let's see, because if we have Carolina in reg at minus 105, and what did you say the Carolina in reg number was? Do we have that yet?
Minus 154.
Okay, let me start to put these in. Well, 154 is probably not bad either. So minus 154 there. We got Vegas in reg tonight at almost even money. So those two games put us to 222. And then you said you like the Rangers in Detroit tonight, Huss?
You know what? I think I do. I mean, I just think that they're a much better team. And the Wings right now, much like a lot of the other teams, are sort of just grasping for air, trying to stay on. Like, now they got that big win against the Lightning in their last time out, but this is their first game at home off of that road trip. And that road trip started with losses in Nashville, in Washington, in Carolina, and in Florida. I think we're seeing right now when the Wings go up against legit playoff teams in the top echelon of the league, they're not winning. Now, they are back at home, but we also know how difficult sometimes that first game off a road trip is, although that really shouldn't be an issue right now, considering the predicament that this team is in right in the middle of a playoff run.
Yeah, if we throw Rangers, and I was just looking back at, the Rangers have, in their last 10, their 2 losses to the Red Hot Penguins and Sidney Crosby, and then to Winnipeg, they lost 4-2. Outside of that, it's been 8 wins in their last 10, including wins over Florida, Boston, Colorado. They've beaten some of the top end. They also beat Pittsburgh in addition to losing them in there. So yeah, if we put Rangers minus 141 just on the money line in. So if we just go regulation Hurricanes, Golden Knights in regulation, and the Rangers on the money line, it's plus 450. That boost is going to get us into the range that we've been having some luck with this week, right?
Right there.
That's it. I think
that is exactly it.
Right.
We'll probably get it to plus 500 or so.
So Canes and Knights in reg. And Washington, Washington's hanging around there, but they're running on fumes right now. I mean, they've lost 4 in a row. They do not look like a team that's going to find another surge here before the end of the season. So Canes in reg, Golden Knights in reg, Rangers on the money line. I'll send that over to, I'll text it over to Jake while I sit back and enjoy your WrestleMania takes for the next little while.
You know what just when we're talking about the Rangers too, let's not forget that they are in a dogfight to win the President's Trophy, and the President's Trophy is sort of whatever, but number 1 seed in the East is huge. If it's going to be either Boston or the Rangers, assuming the Leafs don't get caught by Tampa, the team that wins the East is going to get one of Islanders or Philly or Washington or Detroit or maybe even Pittsburgh in the first round. The other team is going to get the Tampa Bay Lightning. So these points are incredibly important for a team like the Rangers. We've kind of been saying all along, the 2 places that you want to be are either first place in the East, playing the 8th seed, or second in the Metropolitan Division and getting whatever one of these teams ends up finishing third. But if you win your division and don't win the East, say hi to the Tampa Bay Lightning right now with the championship pedigree and playing as well as they have all year long with a guy, Nikita Kucherov, who could very well be the MVP.
All right, there you go. That's the story in the National Hockey League tonight. I just fired that over to Jake, so that will pop up at some point. Canes and Knights in reg, Rangers on the money line, and that'll be up in the exclusives page as well a little bit later on, probably by the end of the show, I would think. Quickly, we got the Vegas keyword we're going to give out, and then we'll call somebody around 11:50. Huss is going to get into WrestleMania picks. My little 3-gamer Major League Baseball plus 310, and you have to hop on this right away because the Dodgers and Cubbies get started here in just under an hour. But I've got the Dodgers at minus 182, the Phillies, Nola looking to bounce back. He got beat up against the Braves a bit in his opener for the Phillies. The Nationals are not the Braves, so I like him bouncing back as a starter today for the Phillies at minus 182 as well. And then speaking of the Braves, give me the Braves on the run line at minus 1.5 at minus 141, and that'll be plus 310. So Dodgers money line, Phillies money line, Braves on the run line at plus 310 on the Major League Baseball scene tonight. What about Stroman versus the Jays, Huss?
Yeah, well, that's just now in the 2nd inning, apparently.
Where are we at now? What are we at? No, but the conversation about the game in general. I saw Keegan Matheson saying Stroman looked fired up to go up against the Jays today.
This is one of those games where, Stroman, he's one of those guys that can sometimes manufacture controversy or reasons to get, to fire himself up. I don't think he needed that at all today. But 0-0 through the 2nd. The Jays just have to get some hits. I don't know. What is it? Stroman and I guess my guy
Kikuchi. It's Kikuchi
right?
Stroman today. Yeah, it's Kikuchi Stroman. So we'll see how that plays out. The Jays were only like a plus. I was looking at it when I was putting in some of these baseball picks earlier. Plus 154 dog or something like that, I think. So obviously a little bit of respect for Kikuchi there. It's the EST Flyway to Vegas. You know what we're doing here. Many of you are very familiar with it. If you're brand new, we are giving away a trip to Vegas with Fly YEG. That's the Edmonton Airport. And the LVCVA. Two nonstop flights, 3 nights accommodations, tickets to a Cirque show. All you have to do is text in the keyword to 780-218-9999, and you'll go into the mix here to possibly be a qualifier in the lock shop today. Flights to over 50 destinations. Your sports trip starts with a nonstop flight from Fly YEG. The keyword on the lock shop today is dog. D-O-G, as in cash the dog. Plus money dog. Text dog right now to 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Today's keyword is dog. And just to tie this in one more time, 780-218-9999. Don't put in the nasty chat. Just text it in dog to 780-218-9999. The dog tonight, NCAA women's basketball, UConn Huskies, plus 3.5 point dogs against Caitlin Clark and Iowa. The more I've been watching previews and things popping up, very excited for this UConn-Iowa game tonight, Huss.
Going to be awesome. Although I will say, I miss LSU. Angel Reese, my girl, Flage. I mean, that team was so much fun. I will. This is just an aside, nothing to do with betting, but you know, we all remember the LSU team from last year and sort of the showmanship, if you will, from Angel Reese. And it was a really interesting kind of dynamic between the two teams and these two star players. But watching that game, I couldn't take my eyes off number 4 on LSU, that Flage, partly because she had that wild name.
Yes.
You realize that she's like a legit top rapper signed to Rockefeller, like by Jay-Z.
Really?
The minute she signed to LSU, she became one of the highest paid student athletes in the entire United States. If you are interested in, just type her name in, check out YouTube. She was on America's Got Talent at 14. And Simon Cowell, who usually shits on everyone, was like, you are a star, came back as an 18-year-old. It's a crazy story as well. Her dad was like a top rapper in Savannah, Georgia, and he got murdered while her mom was like 6 months pregnant. So never actually got to meet her dad and started doing this as a kid.
But still developed the rap game. Wow.
Well, yeah, and then decided that like she was very successful like as a youngster. I think was on like some Jermaine Dupri show in 12 or 13, but loved basketball so much, wasn't going to give it up, and then became like McDonald's All-American, MVP at the Jordan game, one of the top players. And now, like, her social media imprint is absolutely bananas. I had no idea, and it wasn't really something that came up during the games as well.
No.
So anyways, there's something very interesting for you. If you want to see the other side of one of the stars of the LSU team, check it out. YouTube, Insta, it's all there. As far as the game goes, though, I mean, like I like most have sort of been paying attention to a few teams. Caitlin Clark and Iowa, who they've been playing, and LSU. And then they went head to head. I do know that Paige Beckers is legit. And funny enough, we here in Winnipeg get the American affiliates for our network television for the state from Minneapolis. So I can remember this girl is like a 7th grader. She was that much of a phenom. I think she's from Wayzata or something that's just outside the Twin Cities. And it was a big, big deal when she decided where she was going to go. And I guess UConn has one of the most famous women's basketball programs. I mean, it is a spot where it matters, and it has always mattered. Like, the sport's huge in a lot of places now. It's always been big there. So, I mean, Caitlin Clark's getting most of the ink and most of the oxygen, but Beckers is absolutely no joke. I'd be lying if I said I knew enough about the rest of the teams, but this is going to be two superstars going at it. And this is probably a rivalry that we'll see in the WNBA in a couple of years when both of them end up finishing their bid. The WNBA draft is going to be a big deal this year. You know what I mean?
I know. I had something
Reese
pop up on
declared.
I had something pop up on my feed the other day. WNBA mock, and I was like, I've never even thought. And I clicked it, and Angel Reese was 7 on that mock, and Caitlin Clark was up at number 1. So, but yeah, UConn's women's team from 2013 to 2016, they won 4 straight national titles. In 2009 and 2010, they won the national titles. Like, they are the most decorated women's college basketball program ever. So for Buchers to be a big part of that, man, it's going to be a great game tonight. Caitlin Clark versus the Husky. I mean, I'm watching it tonight. It's on. And
I told you, and I think I said in the lock shop, the first couple rounds, I had bet opposite Iowa on the point spread, just because I figured everybody was going to be betting on Caitlin Clark and Iowa, and the line probably was skewed to reflect that. I know the West Virginia game was actually quite tight late, but they were 14.5 point favorites. They didn't cover. But now we're getting to the point, and obviously this is the Final Four where all of the teams are legit and very, very good. And that's why we're seeing such a short line. It's also a challenge for them to follow up that performance that they had against LSU, because that felt like a championship game, and it was the rematch of last year's championship, and there was so much that goes into it. I mean, listen, I know they're in the Final Four, but you do wonder if there is any sort of an emotional letdown, if you will, just because of how much hype there was going into that game. Like, I wonder whether the viewership for this one, how it compares to the one that broke all the records on Monday night. I mean, a lot of stories around this one.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I hope it does just as well, if not better. All right, Huss, it's 11:33. We got about 20 minutes here, and I don't know if that's enough time. We should have got to this earlier. I saw Belineski right away. He goes, I'm only here for the WrestleMania picks. So the floor is yours, my man. I'm bringing up the WrestleMania page at Coolbet so I can just follow along on bet on everything. So, I mean, you did say you've never seen anything like it before. There's a lot of options here.
There's so much. I mean, they even have specials as well. And again, WrestleMania is a 2-day event. Just quickly, I do have a 3-gamer in the majors today. And we've got some afternoon baseball. So I'm taking the Orioles to beat the Pirates. Pirates have had a great start.
I like that pick. I almost put the Orioles on my card too.
Yeah, Rodriguez is on the hill. He had a great first outing. I like the Orioles in Pittsburgh. I'm going to take Hicks is on the mound against Dylan Cease for the Padres. And the Giants, actually, it's a pretty nice number. I mean, minus 114 as a very slight home favorite. They are on the card. And then the other one is, you when in doubt, just fade the Mets. Hunter Green, my guy, Mr. Strikeout. He's on the hill against Quintana. And the Reds are a very reasonable minus 122. So minus 122 on Baltimore and Cincy, minus 114 on the Giants, comes out to plus 522. So I'm locking that in. We've had such a good run on 3-gamers, mostly in hockey. But when you're hot, why not take a little run into the majors? And just one other thing on the women's March Madness. We should mention that South Carolina game. They're a massive favorite, minus 11.5. They've been the number 1 team all year long. I don't see futures to win the entire thing, but I would imagine that they probably are good value to win it, because again, you're going to get a ton of money on Iowa just because people betting on Caitlin Clark. Still think South Carolina is the team to beat, and 11.5 point favorites against NC State. Anyways, let's get to the main event. WrestleMania weekend, folks. And I want to first thank whoever it is at Coolbet that has been putting all of this together. The amount of options. And what's interesting is that there's been some pretty significant line movement as well in a number of these matches. And that is one thing. And again, we're talking about These are the definition. I'm sure they probably have relatively low limits as well, but it's the definition of, a little sprinkle for fun. I would always recommend against going really hard into sports entertainment wagering, but we've got a lot of options right now. And I mean, we'll just basically run down these picks, because I think especially on the Saturday night, you've got some really significantly big favorites. And it's never worthwhile for the most part to bet things that are like minus 1429 or 1500. That's the line for the Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Naomi 6-man tag against Damage Control with Asuka, Dakota Kai, and Kairi Sane. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill is the key person here. She sort of made her official debut on SmackDown. She is going to be a superstar. They're going to use this match and this highlighted spot in WrestleMania, I think, to make her look massive. I don't think they're setting up anything with these people going forward. If anything, it'll be within their own team. And that's why the Bianca team is minus 1429. That's pretty much a no play. Second match that's in is Dominic Mysterio and Santos Escobar going against Dominic's father, Ray, and Dragon Lee. Little father versus son match in the tag team. You got to love those storylines. Now, Dom and Santos, and Dom's turned into a pretty great, like, he's one of the most hated guys in WWE. When he gets on the microphone, there's no one that has more heat. I mean, the fans just boo the hell out of this guy. And it's really helped kind of take him to the next level. They're minus 256 favorites. I do think that they probably win. It's in all likelihood this Dragon Lee guy that probably ends up taking the pin. I think they're building up Escobar. Dom's in a particular spot where he could lose. I mean, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but it certainly seems like they're going to win this matchup. And again, Dom's also a part of the a big stable, Judgment Day, that is going to be very prominently featured this weekend. So I lean towards Dominic and Santos Escobar at minus 256 in that one. Now, maybe the best match that I'm looking forward to the first night, outside of the big one with The Rock involved, is the Usos, the brothers, Jimmy and Jay, fighting each other. Think back to Bret Hart and Owen Hart in the old days. This is highly anticipated, and the line has moved on this one. Earlier in the week, Jimmy Uso was a plus 300 underdog, and Jay was minus 400. It's actually moved now to a more reasonable number for Jay at minus 200. Jimmy, just for folks following along, we're going to get into the Roman Reigns and the family. He is with Roman, bad guys. Jimmy's sort of gone on his own and has become a star on his own. They've been one of the best tag teams ever. I don't know how many times they've had the championship. So this has been building up for a long time. Jimmy Uso takes the pin. It's no big deal. If Jay were to lose, I think it would mean that there would be some nefarious behavior from the rest of the crew. I don't think that happens, though, because that is a prelude into Roman Reigns and The Rock going up against Cody and Seth. So if you do like Jey Uso, now's the time to get on it, because that number has come down significantly to minus 200. Not liking a lot of value on the underdogs so far for Saturday.
Sorry, I moved my mic. I'm just sitting back. But yeah, I'm just betting everything that you guys like. Okay, let's continue. Here we go.
Now the big match on Saturday is Roman Reigns and The Rock versus Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. Now, there are some stakes to this match that affect Sunday because, as most of you know, the undisputed WWE Championship is going to be up for grabs between Cody Rhodes, who won the Royal Rumble, and Roman Reigns. Now, they were going to pass on that and make it Roman versus The Rock, and then the WWE universe, as they say, basically rioted online for days about this. And they changed course, and that's why The Rock has now basically turned into the ultimate heel. Like, back, he's wearing his old shirts, he's dropping F-bombs, he's, cutting the fourth wall after showing videos that the cameras are done, and he still keeps on giving it to him. I mean, it has been incredible. Here's the stakes for this match. If Roman and The Rock win, then Sunday's title match is bloodline rules, where essentially they can all be there, anything goes, and probably they all get in there to spite Cody and once again deprive him of the championship. That's why, and I think everyone expects that to be the case. That's why Roman Reigns and The Rock are at -109. Now, there is, I'll get to this in a minute. Actually, do we have it here? Because they have a prop of who will be pinned in the match.
I did see that earlier. Yes,
it's under WrestleMania 40 specials. So they expect The Rock and Roman Reigns to win. It's either Cody Rhodes or Seth Rollins. Now, Cody Rhodes makes sense, and he is the favorite at -135 to get it, because they beat the hell out of him. Something happens, and it makes him even more a big underdog to get the win the next day. I kind of think that what might be Seth at -105. You keep Cody real big, and Seth's a big underdog in his match the next day against Drew McIntyre. I think the thought is that they're going to give it to Drew. They've got a big event in Scotland. He is from Scotland or somewhere in England that's coming up. It's like the Clash at the Castle or something like that. They think that he'll be headlining it, so he may very well get it. So the fact that Rollins could be decimated in this match by the bloodline and set him up for a potential loss later on to Drew McIntyre gives, I think, a little bit of value at -105 on Seth. I mean, to bet the match outright at -909 doesn't make sense. So I think if you do like Roman Reigns and The Rock to win, you're better off betting. Heck, you could bet Cody and Seth. Those two with a bit bigger of a number would make a lot more sense than laying -909 on that. Pretty sure the bloodline wins that. We'll have the bloodline rules, which we'll get to something later on. Here's one that's got a smaller line. Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits against the Final Testament. I'm not as familiar with the Final Testament, but the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley have sort of been quiet lately. They haven't gotten a lot of love, not a lot of TV time, but they're big, big stars. This is a time where I think that they shine. -167 is probably some pretty good value on the Bobby Lashley and Street Profits number. And we get to LA Knight and AJ Styles. Styles is one of those guys where it doesn't matter if he loses. He's been top player for a long time. LA Knight is the up-and-comer, the guy that had been sort of in the mix for potentially a title shot. There's no room for him right now, so they've gone to this matchup with AJ Styles to keep them done. Like, again, -556 on LA Knight is a little juicy. I think it's likely that he wins, but if you're looking for a value bet, AJ Styles still one of the top guys and has been quiet. This might be a springboard to him being a little more relevant in the next little bit or a feud longer. It's AJ Styles or no bet for that one. As we mentioned, the specials are up. Who's going to be pinned in the tag team match? Rock, Reigns, Seth, and Cody. And then there's a few exclusives, although I think, as we'll see, these ones are sort of tough to play. And I do see that the numbers have moved a little bit on them. But we'll go through the rest of these matches and you can make your decision if you like those specials afterwards. Check this out. 6-pack tag team ladder match. And this has moved since last night. I'm just going to pull. I was up very late after the game going through all
I
of
love
these.
I love that you know that the line has moved since last night on the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship 6-pack tag team ladder match. Amazing.
That is exactly what's happened, Dusty. And the 6-pack tag team ladder match has the Awesome Truth, which is the Miz and R-Truth. And I mean, those guys are incredible performers. They're hilarious. They really don't need to win. I'm a little surprised that they are minus 145. Like, to think that they would be going and making a run as the tag team champs, I'm not too sure. You got the Judgment Day plus 400, DIY plus 450, and A-Town Down Under, which is Austin Theory and this mouthy Aussie guy, Grayson Waller, who I actually love. He is hilarious. I bet them last night at plus 400 when I was putting these together. They are now plus 350. I'm not sure whether I single-handedly moved the line considering what's happened so far this
You might have.
week. They might have an alert. Oh, Huss just bet in. He's a wrestling sharp. Here's we go. But listen, at minus 145, you want to just cheer for the Miz and R-Truth, go for it, minus 145. I think because of these 6-pack matchups, that's always kind of a weaselly team that gets in, and that is Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. So I'm riding with A-Town Down Under is what they call it. Judgment Day, I'm out on, and then New Day and New Catch Republic, I think, are sort of there for it. So my pick for that one, as I said, got it last night at plus 400. Might want to get in now before the line moves anymore. A-Town Down Under.
I just bet it. I just bet it. As you were saying it, I was like, I got to get in on this after the movement. So I'm in.
One of the more interesting matchups, this one has definitely moved in the last little bit. The WWE Intercontinental Championship. Gunther is the champ, and he's been the champ, I think, for the better part of the last year or two. Like, he's one of the longest reigning, and the guy is an absolute monster. There is a thought that he potentially graduates, if you will, from the secondary title and becomes like a legit threat for either the Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins belt on Raw or the Undisputed Championship. So at that point, you sort of want to, move someone over. Sami Zayn, the Canadian guy, he went toe-to-toe. He had that crazy bloodline run, went at it in Montreal with Roman Reigns. Everyone thought he was going to win. He didn't. He's now minus 154. Like yesterday or the day before, Gunther was minus 125, and I think Sami was plus 110. So this has really flipped. I kind of do like Sami Zayn in this, but looking at Gunther at plus 110, it's like yesterday when you said, how could we be getting the Boston Bruins at plus 130 in this match?
Yeah.
Like, I have a feeling that this comes back the other way and is closer to even. I get all the reasons that Sami might win, and he'd be a perfect guy to continue on with the Intercontinental title. But Gunther's had such an amazing run. At plus money on Gunther, a guy that hasn't lost this belt in 2 years, I think that's where the value is right now, although I definitely could see Sami winning. Women's World Championship, Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. Rhea is the rock star right now of the game, and there's major questions about whether Becky Lynch is going to actually be active in WWE. She's been a huge star, the man, she's done it all. I think there's speculation that she's going to have some time off afterwards, so that would not get you to think that she's going to be winning the world championship. And to be honest, Rhea is such a big star right now. There's no way she drops it. I am surprised that this number actually isn't bigger. I mean, again, I've been talking about some of these big numbers. That number isn't big enough on Rhea. Like, I would be happy to throw Rhea in a 3 or 4 match parlay to get it up a little bit, if you will. And then we come down, we'll finish with this other one. The other women's championship, Bayley and Io Sky. Huge line movement in this one. Bailey was minus 1429 for the better part of the last week. And Io Sky was like plus 900. Well, Bailey's now minus 500. Like Rhea's a bigger favorite than Bailey is right now. And it was exactly opposite of that. I'm not exactly sure why that is. But it does get my spidey senses up a little bit that someone that was such a massive favorite is now coming down. And that's definitely a line to watch if it comes back the other way. Io Sky, Japanese star, part of that damage control group, which they were together, and they kind of kicked Bailey out. And this is kind of thought to be their redemption, if you will. I still think I like Bailey in this one because it's a great story. I don't think she has a lot of time left as champ, but she probably gets it done. I certainly wasn't going to bet it before at minus 1429. I've got a little bit more time with it at minus 500. Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins. I mentioned that Rollins is in the match on Saturday with Cody Rhodes, that we expect them to lose, setting up the bloodline rules for the Roman Cody match. Drew, once again, is a big favorite in this one. And part of the reason for that, they're going to Europe. He won it before, of course, but he was like the champ during COVID. So he never really got to have this massive WrestleMania moment. He's been great online lately. He's kind of redone his character. And I think both Seth and Becky might be taking a little bit of time off. So Drew is the pick in that one at minus 500. I'm just looking right now. If you put together Drew McIntyre, Bailey, and Rhea Ripley in a parlay, this one, for some reason, the Bailey one can't be parlayed. Oh, it's about minus 149. If I took this one out, and for whatever reason, the Bailey one isn't. But I mean, Drew McIntyre and Rhea Ripley, I really like at minus 500 or minus 625. If you want to roll in with the Intercontinental Championship, if you like Gunther at plus 110, that comes out to plus 192. And even if you think Sami Zayn's going to win, a Drew, Rhea, Sami Zayn parlay plus 130. The only one that's not eligible for the parlays, and I'm not sure why that is Bailey and Io Sky, and that might just be because of how much the thing is run. All right, 12:54. We got to get up. This is the matchup. By the way, I think Logan Paul probably wins the three-way for the U.S. Championship.
Minus 435. Yeah.
Minus 435. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. This is the end of the story. Cody finishes his story. The fans want him. This was the exact same thing that happened last year, and everyone went nuclear when he didn't win. And you know what ended up happening? It ended up being a massive boon for the WWE all year long, to the point where they got The Rock out of this match. Roman Reigns needs to hold the belt until September to pass Hulk Hogan for his time as the WWE champion.
Oh, wow.
People are losing sight of that. Roman was a plus 4 or plus 350 underdog before. Oh my God, the line just moved.
I'm just watching it move right now.
Okay, I'm going to cut to the chase, folks. There's big time value on Roman Reigns. For anyone that tells you that it is a lock that Cody Rhodes wins the WWE Undisputed title, that is just simply not the case. There are so many scenarios that could have Cody lose again and keep this story going, which has been a moneymaker for the WWE, and allow them to make Roman even a bigger star, a record-breaking champion for when he finally does lose the belt. We've been seeing it go from 350 to 300 to plus 250. As I'm speaking now to plus 225, I cannot opt away from the plus money. I'm taking Roman Reigns. I got him in at plus 250 last night. It is plus 225. Could we lose that one? Absolutely. But at better than 2-1, Roman Reigns, I think this one probably is like plus 150 or so by the time it goes off. So I'm in on a Roman Reigns wager. That's the main event. That's the big one at the end. It's all there at Coolbet. Keep an eye on the line movement because there has been plenty of it. And everybody, enjoy your WrestleMania.
You've done it again, Huss. You just went for 24 straight minutes setting up WrestleMania. I love it. I'm on a bunch of it. I missed some of it. As somebody said on YouTube, they're like, I love that I'll be able to scroll back and get all these plays in. So yes, that was good. Enjoy it, Huss. Enjoy Saturday. Enjoy Sunday. And I can't wait to break it down with you on Monday, buddy.
Yeah. Oh, quickly. I mentioned that Jey Uso is minus 200 right now. Last night he was minus 303.
Oh, wow.
And I did take a Reigns and The Rock, Jey Uso, and Dominic Mysterio and Santos Escobar parlay. So you can pop that in. The numbers are changing a little bit. Wrestling parlays got to beat it. Hey, we've been so hot. Ash K. Badia, book that ticket to the Masters and complete the greatest week in Lock Shop history. Have a great weekend, and I will talk to you from Nashville, Tennessee on Monday.
There you go. That is us, a Canadian national treasure. Like, seriously, wrap that dude in styrofoam from one WrestleMania to the next. I love it. All right, let's get to our qualifier and then Oil Stream coming up right away with myself. We'll get to that coming up. Zach Tickham, who's our qualifier today?
We got Jay qualifying.
Jay or Jake?
Jay.
All right, let's go to Jay. Jay, thanks for waiting, man. Huss couldn't. He was trying to wrap up, but there's too much to get to on WrestleMania. You're one step closer to winning a trip to Vegas.
Thanks. It's great, Dusty. I'm thrilled.
When was the last time you were in Vegas, man?
About 5 years ago.
5
for work.
years ago.
And it was terrible because it was all work.
Oh, my God. Imagine somebody sending you to Vegas. You have to work the whole time. My God.
But we got a trip booked in June with my wife, so
very
we're gonna
nice.
get to do it upright this time.
Yeah, well, exactly. And you might win another one right here, man. You're one step closer. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
There you go. How about Jay? He's got a trip booked to Vegas in June, and he's trying to win another one.
Double down.
That would be good. That would be good. I'd like that. All right, we got Oil Stream coming up. Game day here against the Colorado Avalanche. Chris Knobloch's going nuclear again.